and welcome to Your Coaching Journey, a podcast for doctors about coaching. Whether you're a coaching doctor, a doctor who is learning to coach, or a doctor who would like to build coaching into your professional life, then this is the podcast for you.
Hello, I'm Tom Dillon, and with me today is my co-host and business partner, Helen Leathers. Good morning, Helen. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you very much.
Good.
Thank you for asking.
Well, I've got another question for you.
Have you?
Yeah.
Go on.
Have you ever been completely lost in an activity? Completely oblivious to the outside world? I mean, I think I can answer this for you, but can you...
Go on then. What's your answer?
Have you ever been so absorbed that you've not noticed that you're hungry, you're not noticed that you're thirsty, you're focused completely on the task in hand, and when you're finished, or perhaps been rudely interrupted, you realise that hours have passed and you hadn't even noticed?
I think hours passed with you just asking me that question. It's a very long question.
Thanks.
If I was assessing you on a coaching...
I wasn't coaching.
I think, yeah, keep it short. Just one question.
Do you have a response?
Yeah, frequently. I do. Yes, get lost.
What sort of activity would you say?
Sometimes researching for a podcast.
Yeah.
Just go down a rabbit hole of looking at different stuff and just, hours will go by. Oh, damn, I was only going to spend half an hour doing that.
Yeah.
So that sort of thing. And tennis is perhaps a place where I just get lost sometimes. Not all the time, but I will talk about that. But there are things that I do get lost in.
That's what we're going to talk about today.
Is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, because I've had that too. I mean, yoga for me, writing.
We're going to talk about times where I've got lost in my thoughts.
No.
Oh.
We're going to be talking about flow.
Flow.
You're in
Good.
flow. The psychological concept of flow. And this is something that was conceptualized by the Hungarian-American psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi.
Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi. Or Mickey to his friends.
Yeah.
Our old mate Mickey.
Yeah, absolutely. It took me a long time to be able to say his name.
Yeah. I used to like the fact you couldn't say it.
And you could.
Nice.
Yeah. So this concept came about in the sort of 1960s when Csikszentmihalyi and his friend, who probably called him Mickey, they were studying artists. And they noticed how artists could get completely absorbed into their work, totally focused, single-minded, worked on their project for hours and hours without a break, perhaps didn't even eat, didn't stop to drink. And he looked at not just artists, he went on to look at people in other fields as well, sculptors, dancers, chess players even, and discovered that people find a genuine satisfaction during this state of flow when they're totally absorbed. And they feel strong, they feel alert, they feel in control, but it's effortless. And they don't feel self-conscious. So if there's people walking by, observing them doing their thing, they feel they don't really notice it. But it's been described as highly pleasurable and highly rewarding experience. So we've talked about this before in our positive psychology episode, which was episode 25, and we've talked about it in the PERMAH wheel episode, which incorporates flow under E for engagement, and that was episode 27. And because it's just seen as one of life's enjoyable states of being, it encourages creativity, encourages productivity, emotional regulation, and it's also associated with intrinsic motivation, happiness and contentment.
Yeah, I suppose thinking about the PERMAH wheel and engagement as a concept within that, I guess there are times when you will be engaged, but not necessarily in flow. So I think from Martin Seligman's perspective, flow is a kind of aspirational state. If we can spend our day in flow, then I think that's great. But actually just being engaged and interested in what it is that you're doing is probably enough for some people for a lot of the time. I think it's unrealistic for a lot of people to think they're going to be in flow all day.
And possibly dangerous, if you find flow in gambling, for example, that might not be such a good thing. And it was,
unless you're very good at it.
Well, maybe, yeah. It was something that Csikszentmihalyi said, was that there is, you have to be careful of being totally there all the time to the exclusion of everything else. But Yeah, I can see where you might want to differentiate between engagement and flow.
Yeah, and I say not that I think flow is a bad thing. If you spend your day of work being so, I think software engineers who are doing some coding probably just get lost. They sit down at their desk at whatever time in the morning, and before they know it, it's gone home time, and they're still at it and haven't really noticed. I think that's perfectly possible. But for a lot of people doing ordinary jobs, I think engagement is the first step to think about. Are you engaged in your role? And if you're not engaged in your role, then that's a problem, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I think if we can find the places where people do get into flow, that's really helpful to recognise that.
I've got a lovely quote here from an interview that Csikszentmihalyi gave to Wired magazine. He said, being completely involved in an activity for its own sake, the ego falls away. Time flies. Every action, movement and thought follows inevitably from the previous one, like playing jazz. Your whole being is involved and you're using your skills to the utmost. I like that.
Yeah. It's jazz.
I mean, I don't think I can play jazz, but it's a lovely concept.
It's a mystery jazz, isn't it? I like a bit of, accessible jazz, but yeah, it is a bit of a dark art. So yes, good.
So I think this just shows that it's sort of being in flow is an active activity. It's not just switching off. It's not just mindfulness and being in the moment. There's activity involved with it, isn't there?
Yeah, and I think people do see mindfulness as a state of flow. And I don't.
No.
I don't think I've ever flow isn't a thing for me. Well, mindfulness isn't a thing for me because I don't find it helpful. I think I find being in flow helpful if we're talking about getting out of my own head, not being stressed. I think flow is a much, much more beneficial concept for me than trying to be mindful. And if I'm not thinking about my problems, that's a great place to be.
Absolutely. And I think this is a good time to talk about what makes flow, because it will help our listeners to differentiate between that idea of mindfulness. And if mindfulness works for you, then that's fantastic. This is something slightly different, but this will help you to differentiate. So effectively, when we're in flow, we're controlling our mind by focusing on a particular task at hand. It stops outside distractions. It stops our inner thoughts and negative thinking. But these are the elements that Csikszentmihalyi found had to be in place. So firstly, and this is where mindfulness probably falls down a little bit, there has to be a challenge. You have to be stretching your skills. So if something's too easy, you're just going to get bored and give up. If something's too hard, you're going to get bored and give up. You have to find this sweet spot in the middle where you're being challenged.
Yeah, I think it's useful to point out you don't have to be a master of your skill, your ability, but it's that stretch from where you are, isn't it? It's like being able to do what you want to do, but being challenged to do it.
Yeah. The second part, there are clear goals every step of the way. So you're moving and progressing forward. And I think that if you think about the painters that he started out observing, they're going to want to finish the picture, aren't they? And there's going to be steps along the way to get there.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
There's immediate feedback to one's actions.
Yeah, and I guess that's an interesting one because we're not expecting someone to be standing there giving us feedback.
No.
It's that being able to identify that something is happening.
Yes.
So if you're painting a picture, then you can see what's appearing before you. If you're writing code, you can see that you're making progress with making the code. So it's not feedback from someone else; it's feedback from the activity.
Yeah, and if you use the wrong type of blue, you're going to know about it straight away, and you can correct that. And this idea that actions and awareness are merged, that we're completely absorbed, almost not thinking about.
Yeah, and I think about that. So I mentioned tennis earlier, and there are times when I'm absolutely in flow. So if I'm in the middle of a rally and, you know, the ball's across the other side of the court and I've got a race to get, now I'm not thinking about how am I going to get there, what shot am I going to play? It just happens. So that's become a more instinctive thing. If I'm serving the ball, I'm not in flow at all because I've got too much time to think. But there's something about that, say, being in the middle of a rally where I'm having to chase the ball down and hit it in order to get it over the net and back in the other court. Yeah. Definitely some flow to that.
Yeah. So I've already mentioned that distractions are excluded from our consciousness. We're not we're even aware of them, really. We're also not worried about failure. We're just doing the activity for the sake of doing the activity. So that idea of self-consciousness disappears. So if someone could, you know, traipse people through an artist's gallery and perhaps the artist may not even notice that they're there. Do you think you'd notice if I came and watched you playing tennis?
People do sometimes watch. And I think, again, if I was about to serve, I might be conscious of it. If I'm in the middle of a rally, probably not.
Yeah, interesting. And I think the final one to mention is the idea of time becoming distorted. And that's one that I think a lot of people can relate to. They think 5 minutes has passed and it's been an hour, or they think an hour's passed and it's been a day. So it can work both ways, I think, sometimes.
Yeah.
So it's not just about how we feel about an activity, but it's about the whole process and that idea of removing interference from our mind. But being active, being sort of dynamic, using skills, having challenges, all of those things that bring us flow. So you've mentioned tennis.
Yeah, I think tennis is an interesting one because it's very hit and miss. Why tennis is very hit and miss. But also I think the degree to which you're in flow is hit and miss. So I think in the middle of a rally, you would be in flow. If you're between points, you're definitely not in flow. Probably you do get in your own head and there's some anxiety and stress involved in that. But it's a bit hit and miss, that one.
I think probably for a lot of people, there'll be activities where you fall in and out of flow. Sometimes you struggle and sometimes it just effortless, you know, you're effortlessly in flow. So there are some examples that I've got here, which is like skiing. I can relate to that. There are times when it's really hard and there's times when it's exquisitely in flow. I don't know if you've had that with your snowboarding experience yet.
No, not yet. Well, no, to be fair, when I'm trying to do what I'm supposed to be doing on a snowboard and controlling the snowboard, I'm definitely in flow at that point, but it doesn't last long. I've got a decision to make about my snowboarding, whether I carry on with it or just go, I'm not good at that.
Maybe some coaching will help.
Maybe.
Yeah. Other examples, playing the guitar. You've played the guitar, haven't you?
Yes. I think I have at times been in flow playing the guitar.
That's good. A lot of people do say music, jazz has been used as an example already. Cooking.
Yep.
I think if you can get into that state of flow, especially if you're baking. That's something I enjoy doing. Reading, perhaps debating a topic, if it's a topic that you love, or if you're presenting and speaking on a topic. Dancing.
Yeah, definitely been in flow dancing.
Yeah.
There's times when I'm not, but definitely there are times when I'm in. Yeah. Yeah,
it's lovely when you get to that space. So all things creative that come up as well, painting, drawing, and also certain types of exercise. And we've talked a bit about this, how you find there is sometimes flow in tennis. And we've talked before about the comparison that you have between tennis and running, and I have between yoga and cycling.
Yeah.
And you're much more likely to be in flow in tennis, aren't you?
Yeah. Running doesn't really do it for me. I can run.
Yeah.
But I'm in my own head. I think the only time I would potentially be in a flow running is if I'm unsure of the ground that I'm running on and I've got to watch where I'm putting my feet. So if you're doing cross-country running, you probably are in flow because you put one wrong foot and you might twist your ankle or something. So that probably does put you in a flow state.
Real challenge.
Just watching where you... Yeah. But so running wouldn't do it for me. Tennis does it sporadically for me. I noticed on your list, the one you missed off was fishing.
I did miss that off, yeah.
I can't see how anyone would be in flow fishing.
No, that's why I missed
Maybe, deep sea fishing if you're wrestling with a marlin or something, trying to get it on. Yeah.
There's not really a challenge, is there?
No, that's a place for you to be in your own head, isn't it? And I think it's a sport, a bit like cricket, invented for men that want to get away from their wives. It's a really good excuse to go and sit on your own, isn't it?
Yeah.
And not be at home.
And I would imagine there'll be some mindfulness associated with that potentially.
Or mind wandering. Maybe.
Or mind wandering.
Yeah.
But I can't see it bringing flow. So I think that's really interesting. For me, like you, I have activities. So when I was doing spin classes, sometimes I could be in flow, but most of the time I was thinking about probably how exhausted I was.
Yeah.
But when I go to yoga, I'm much more likely to be in flow. And I think, if people are looking for flow activities, they want to make sure that there's something about escaping from their own thoughts there.
I guess one thing that we haven't mentioned that might be useful for some people to think about is gaming.
Yeah.
Because there is some evidence that that's really helpful for teenagers to actually game because it does take them out of their own heads. They're just lost in the game. And as many parents will verify that they'll say, right, you've got 10 minutes. An hour goes by and told to get off the computer and it's only been 10 minutes. Well, it's really been an hour. So definitely time does disappear and people just get lost in it, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I think that's perhaps for parents to recognise that gaming could put their teenager into a flow state and it might be a useful state. If they do struggle with anxiety and things like that, it might be a useful state for them to be in.
There's going to be some parents go, oh no, I was trying to get them off the
Well,
computer.
I'm just saying, don't have to take my advice. Well, it's not advice. It's just a recognition of the fact that is seen by people that study these things to put
absolutely.
people into a flow state. So thinking about how we might use this in the coaching room, what are your thoughts, Helen?
Well, I think given that flow has been shown to increase well-being, relaxation, stress management. We talked about stress last time on the podcast, enhance creativity, helping people to switch off from the pressures of life and get some work-life balance. I think it's a really great tool to bring into the coaching room and to explore with people and to maybe let them know a bit of information sharing. This is something that has been shown in research to be beneficial to all of these elements or whatever element is relative to what they bring into the coaching space. So I quite often work with clients who want to improve one of those elements, work-life balance, using their strengths, finding themselves again, perhaps. And so I might share some information about what flow is, how it can be achieved, and explore with them what's brought them flow in the past, what they've enjoyed, what they've really found useful. And as soon as I do that, once they understand what flow is, and I ask them about things in the past, they'll go, oh gosh, there was this thing I used to do and I really enjoyed it and I've stopped doing it. And they suddenly realise that actually part of perhaps getting back to themselves could be re-engaging with some of those things. So I just invite them to think about how often they're in flow now and perhaps what they could try again to bring that back into their lives and just to revisit and see what else could bring them flow. Perhaps go and try some new things out and find out what experiences they want to re-engage with and just to assess whether that's bringing more of that sense of well-being into their life.
Lovely. Yeah.
What experience do you have of using flow in the coaching room?
Probably around personality and personality types. So I think... So if you were an accountant, you might be in flow getting lost in a spreadsheet. And that might be part of your personality that you need quiet, you need to focus on the detail. You need to plan it all out. So there are certain aspects, I think, of personality that do lend. If you can tap into how someone shows up and whether their workplace is a good fit for them. Because if they are an extrovert and not planful and not a detailed person, and they're having to spend their day doing that detailed work in a very, right, you've got to sit there for 8 hours and do this, they're going to struggle. So I think personality definitely comes into it for me. But I think it is, as you say, it's just about asking the questions about where they are maybe initially just engaged. Where is your engagement with your work? And then drilling down into that of, okay, and what activities actually put you in flow when you're in the workplace? And if there aren't any in the workplace, then okay, what activities put you in flow outside of work? And hopefully there will be something somewhere. Even if it's just gaming, there's something. I'm going to tell them to give up work to spend their time gaming, but useful to recognise if someone really is struggling to think about times that they're in flow. Yeah. And I know from speaking to lots of our doctors, they do find flow in certain aspects of their work, and they find that really, that's a really positive experience. I think for a lot of GPs, the sense of flow is always interrupted by the time constraints. So they might well be in flow with a patient, but not really, because they know they've got 10 minutes. So that always kind of cuts into it a little bit. They can't lose time because there's a time constraint. Good. Thank you, Helen. Enjoyed that conversation about flow.
It's a lovely topic, isn't it?
Just hearing you say Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi was well worth the episode, I think. Well done. Next time on the podcast, you're going to be taking us through 5 dysfunction of a team. Yeah, sounds like a very negative podcast, doesn't it? 5 dysfunctions, but it's a great model. I use it all the time, so I think it's well worth an airing. So look forward to that. We'll see you next time. Bye for now. Bye-bye.
This has been a Monkey Pants Productions podcast.